I jako ostatni prelegent, pan Yossi Swed, zaprezentuje nam postać, która budzi kontrowersję, której dotychczas niewiele wiedzieliśmy i bardziej była ona znana z wydarzenia, której 80. rocznicę będziemy obchodzić w przyszłym roku. Natomiast jak rozumiem, dowiemy się więcej o działalności Pawła Frenkla, uważanego za dowódcę Żydowskiego Związku Wojskowego, przynajmniej w czasie powstania w getcie w Warszawie, natomiast o jego pochodzeniu i działalności przed tym dramatycznym wydarzeniem. I would like to ask you to introduce yourself, your background, and some words about your activity, please.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, and it's a great privilege for me and for my organization to come here and to give this small lecture. My name is Yossi Swed from the Menachen Begin Center in Jerusalem. I also a researcher in Bar-Ilan University. And I would like to share with you the latest finding of ours regarding the research of the GZW. We call it in Hebrew the ATSI, which is the revisionist underground in the Warsaw Ghetto, which is basically not a lot of materials left from this underground, and therefore there are a lot of controversy about this issue. Okay, so in the year of 2009, Professor Misha Arens, he wrote a book about the GZW, and he collected testimonies and books written about it. He was looking for a picture or an image of Pavel Frenkel, which was the commander of the military commander of the GZW, and he couldn't find nor picture or any documentation of his in the archives. Basically, it's almost an unexisting person, because it was there was no place that he was written about. So what he did, he invited three last witnesses that claimed to have seen him in the ghetto, and he brought them in front of a cluster-owned painter from the police, like you do in police research, and they described his image, and this is the image that he finally delivered. But we almost every time we see it, we ask ourselves, how come there is no documentation and no picture of this person? Because we know that every other leader of the underground, whether it's the GZW or the GOB, or even other undergrounds and other personnel in this area, almost all of them has pictures and documentations in the archives, and it bothered us, and we wanted to figure out what is going on, tried to find some information about him. So we went to Adam Halperin's testimony, which is the main testimony about Pavel Frenkel. Adam Halperin, standing here in the left, he's here in the uniform of Beitar movement, 1937, in the Moranov nest of Beitar. He was a commander there, or a leader of a group there, and he claimed to know Pavel Frenkel from this specific nest. We have a lot of pictures from this nest, from this Beitar nest, a lot of pictures, but none of them contain Pavel Frenkel, and this is very weird for us. After the war, during the war, Adam Halperin did not join the GZW and he wasn't in the ghetto while the uprising occurred. But after the war, he reunited with other Beitar members. Here you can see them in Italy. Sorry. And those two are Adam Halperin to the right and Chaim Lazar to the left. Chaim Lazar was a partisan from Vilna, and he wrote the first book about the GZW, which called the Masada of Warsaw. And what we know that Adam Halperin, he delivered to Chaim Lazar everything he knew about Pavel Frenkel, and this is what Chaim Lazar wrote in his book. So what did he wrote? That Pavel Frenkel was born in 1920 He was a Polish gymnasium high school student, a member of the revisionist Masada movement, head of a group at the Beitar Nest at North Russia, Moranov, participated in the summer camp of Beitar movement in the summer of 1939. Those are the main details that he shared about Pavel Frenkel. And up until today, in all of the books and encyclopedias and even Wikipedias, when you search Pavel Frenkel, this is the main thing you'll see about him, including the year of birth, 1920. But we have another testimony which collide with this testimony, and we have unanswered questions that arise from this testimony. This is David Wadowinski. David Wadowinski was the head of the political committee of the ZZW, was the most senior Beitar member in occupied Poland. And he does not tell a lot, but what does say is that Pavel Frenkel was a skilled military man, participated in Poland's military campaign in 1939 against the Nazis. And due to his being a military man, he was designed by him to lead the Joint Underground, a condition that the GOB did not accept. Okay, he came to, he described that he talked with Mordechai Nilevich and Sivia Lubetkin, and he asked for a military man to stand at the head of the United Underground, which they not accepted. Okay, but we can hear from that there's a problem with Adam Halperin testimony, because by what Adam Halperin said, it was that he was born in 1920, and if he was born in 1920, it means he could not be a skilled military man at this time. And if he was in a summer camp of Beitar in 1939, he could not be a skilled military man to lead the Joint Underground. So there's a problem here. In 1961, David Wadowinski came to Israel to testify in the Eichmann trial. He spent 6 weeks in Israel. He spent 6 weeks in Israel and met Beitar members from the past, old friends, and he gave lectures and testimonies, which he lectured about the ZZW in the Warsaw Ghetto. One of the men he met was Jeremiah Halpern, which was head of Beitar military training, both in Israel and abroad. Jeremiah Halperin is a very serious man, was very close to Jabotinsky, one of the high leaders of Beitar. And after he meets David Wadowinski, he understands that one of his trainees from the naval school in Italy was actually Pavel Frenkel. This is what he wrote, and this is the testimony that we found by Jeremiah Halperin, which was not known to the research by now. Jeremiah actually tells a lot about this Frenkel, but he never said that this Frenkel was Pavel Frenkel, only up until when he met David Wadowinski. We know that he also had picture of him, so when he met him, he had pictures in his hand. We know that. Okay, the name Pavel, this is what he tells about Frenkel. By the way, he calls him only Frenkel, not Pavel Frenkel, and not another name, just only Frenkel. He said that Pavel was not his real name, that he's coming from an assimilated family. He was an outstanding officer at the Polish army, enrolled to university and was expelled from it for organizing Jewish self-defense against riots. Appointed by him as a commander of the Bialystok region of the Soldier Alliance, which we called Brit HaChayal, in 1934. Those are veterans from the Polish army, revisionist Zionists that served in the Polish army and formed a big group, few thousands of people, maybe even 10,000 of people around Poland and other countries that they mainly focused on military training for youth and adults. And that he was a cadet naval in the seamanship course, and he sailed from Italy to Israel in the Sarah A ship. And since the end of the course, he had not heard about him again. This is what he tells about this Frenkel. So we found this, and we was pretty amazed, because it's the first time that someone claims that he knows who Pavel Frenkel was. And we went to check who this Frenkel is. And we went to the list of the people who was sailing on the Sarah Aleph from Italy to Israel. We find 3 lists, and in all of these lists, there appears one Frenkel, Jacob Frenkel. What do we know about Jacob Frenkel? Jacob Frenkel was born on August 2nd, 1911 in Bialystok. His father Shmerl, mother Bela. He finished the Polish Gymnasium High School as a high school student. He was an average student, but we won't focus on that, of course. He took his final exam at the age of 20. He enlisted to the Polish army at the age of 21. And this is what we know about him. What you're seeing here is a document from the archive, the military archive of Poland. This is his image. He served as a lieutenant in the army from 32 to 34. We found an article that described his appointing to be the head of the Bialystok Brit HaChayal commander. Brit HaChayal in this time taught youth Beitar members how to use weapons, as you can see here. This picture is from 1936, exactly the years that Jacob Frenkel was the head of the Brit HaChayal in Bialystok. And what we see here is the trainees of the C school of Beitar in Italy from 37 to 38. To the left, up here you can see to the left Frenkel, Jacob Frenkel, and here you can see him with white uniforms saluting in Tel Aviv graveyard. This is him standing next to Rachel Halperin, the wife of Irmia Halperin, and David Knut, which was the head of the resistance, the Jewish resistance in France. We know that in 38, Menachen Begin and Zelig Lerner came to Bialystok, to Druskinkai, and appointed Frenkel to be the head of the headquarters again. This is how we know that he came back to Poland. So if we compare Adam Halperin's and Jeremiah Halperin's testimonies, we see that they're probably not talking about the same person. Adam Halperin talks about someone who was born in 1920 and Jeremiah Halperin in 1911, and so on and so on. The only thing that's the same is the Polish Gymnasium High School student, which both of them are saying in their testimonies. What do we know about the ZZW leaders? Many researchers write that the members of Beitar movement were Beitar movement and revisionist, officers in the Army of Poland, members of the Soldiers' Alliance, Brit HaChayal, and have connection to the Polish military personnel. All of those we can find in Jacob Frenkel. All of those we cannot find in what Adam Halperin testimony is said. And we have other sources too. If we check other sources, we see that people are saying that Paweł Frenkel was a lieutenant in the Polish army, a skilled military man, estimated in the age of 30, underwent military training in Israel, had a reserve soldier, head of the reserve soldiers of the Irgun, which we call Otsaron. Most of them we can find in the figure of Jacob Frenkel, which Jeremiah Halperin testimony says. So we cannot know for sure that this is indeed Paweł Frenkel, but we have a lot of leads. Our research is still going on, and if someone here or you can know someone you can refer me to, we're looking for connections in Poland to find in other databases. Maybe we can find more details that can confirm this thought of ours. Okay, so we have him as a lieutenant in the army, as a cadet in the C school, and visiting Israel at the head of a group. Thank you very much for listening.